What is nutrition?
Why do we eat? Well, we eat to maintain our relationship with the sun.
Hey man, is this astronomy or astrology? Actually, I was sort of hoping to learn about nutrition. Nutrition.
Hey dude, this is nutrition. Human nutrition to be precise.
Oh, I knew it, man! But what does nutrition have to do with the sun?
Everything. You see, human nutrition is the study of how humans get the nutrients we need to survive. Nutrients are the things that nourish us, meaning they keep us alive and healthy and strong. Nutrients sustain us.
And the sun?
Well, where do you think nutrients come from?
Plants!
Plants manufacture nutrients from energy they get from the sun. You know, photosynthesis. That's just plants converting solar energy into chemical energy. Then we eat the plants, or we eat other animals that eat the plants, and that's how energy from the sun gets into our bodies.
You can think of nutrients like tiny packets of energy.
Really? Wow. It's like we're made of stars.
Hey, stay focused. We've got lots of learning to do.
So we need nutrients in order to stay alive and healthy. Specifically, we need essential nutrients. These are nutrients that we need to live, but that our bodies don't naturally produce. So we have to eat them to get them.
There are 6 main types of nutrients that your body needs. You've probably heard of them before. You probably have ideas about what they are. You may even think some are good and some are bad.
If that's what you think, then prepare to be set straight. Some crinkly, wise old man somewhere high in the mountains would probably say, nothing is essentially good or bad. Well, this is especially true for nutrition. Put that in your cereal bowl and slurp on it.
Okay, let's learn about these nutrients. The 6 main types of nutrients that your body needs to get down are as follows: carbohydrates, fats, proteins, vitamins, minerals, and water.
These nutrients are in a particular order for a reason, which we'll get to in a sec. So let's make sure we've got it down. Here's a mnemonic to help you remember them. Could Fanny play a violin? Much worse. Carbohydrates, fats, proteins, vitamins, minerals, and water.
Now about that particular order. The first 3 nutrients are known as macronutrients. Macro means big, and these guys are a big deal. That's because they're your body's main source of energy.
That's right. Macronutrients provide the fuel that makes you go. Once your body breaks them down, these guys give you the energy to spar with animals, climb on buses, and swim in pudding. They also fuel the body's growth and maintain its strength.
The amount of energy you get from carbohydrates, fats, and proteins is measured in a unit called kilocalories.
You're probably used to hearing and seeing the word calories among the nutritional information on food packaging. Guess what? Kilocalorie and calorie are the same thing. Well, sort of. A kilocalorie is 1,000 calories. Somewhere along the line, someone got lazy and decided to call kilocalories calories for short. Weird, huh? I guess it's not the first time nutritional information was, confusing.
Now let's get something straight about calories. A calorie in general, be it 1 or 1,000, is simply a measure of the amount of energy a food provides to fuel the body. Remember, the body needs this fuel to survive.
If we don't consume enough calories, we will have no immediate energy to use. Then the body will have to dig into its vital energy reserves, and that's like digging into your savings account just for 1 pair of jeans. Not a good idea. On the other hand, if we consume more calories than our bodies need, the extra energy is stored as fat. That's why too many calories can cause a person to be overweight, especially if that person is not active enough to use the extra calories.
Remember, carbohydrates, fats, and proteins are macronutrients. They provide the body with energy in the form of calories to fuel, build, repair, and maintain the body.
Then we've got the micronutrients, vitamins, minerals, and water. Micronutrients do not provide the body with energy, but that doesn't mean they're not important. Micronutrients do things like support the regulation and control of bodily functions. Like the macronutrients, they may also provide the body with structural materials for maintenance and tissue repair.
Water is the most important nutrient of all. In fact, maybe the rest of you nutrients should all just go home, because in the end, water is where it's at. Your body couldn't survive for much more than a few days without water, while it could go for weeks without food, so long as it stayed hydrated.
Ah, water, most honorable patron of our fair blue planet. Water is the key ingredient to hot tubs. And cheers.
Nutrients nourish and sustain the body. I get it. But just how do they do that? Go on, smarty pants.
Hey, what's with the tood? To understand how nutrients nourish and sustain the body, let's first discuss what the body is made of.
Well, the body is made up of a bunch of different systems working together. You know, like the digestive system, the circulatory system, the nervous system.
Each body system is made up of a group of organs. Organs are made up of tissues, and tissues are made up of little things called cells.
The cell, of course. It always comes down to the cell, the basic unit of life. How did I get here?
That's right. On the most basic level, your body is made of cells. Your cells have lots of jobs to do to keep your body alive and running. And in order to do these jobs, cells need nutrients.
Specifically, cells need energy from carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, the macronutrients. They need building materials from proteins and minerals. They need chemical regulators from vitamins. And cells need water, water, water. They're made mostly of water, after all.
In a nutshell, cells are the basic units of life. They're the sand in your sandbox, the bubbles in your bath. Cells keep you alive, but they need nutrients to do it. You are responsible for getting those nutrients to your cells by eating. And not just eating, but eating well. That way, the body can work its best and stay energetic and healthy.
Remember, stargazers, the sun gives life to the planet. Nutrients are like tiny pieces of the sun inside of us.
Whoa.
Macronutrients. Carbohydrates.
You want to talk about energy? You want to talk about fuel? Well, then you want to talk about carbohydrates.
Each gram of carbs supplies 4 calories of energy to your body. But more importantly, carbohydrates are the most efficient form of energy for your body. That means your body can transform carbs into energy more easily than any of the other macronutrients. And that's why some athletes like to load up on carbs before a big game.
It's recommended that 45 to 60% of calories in the diet come from carbohydrates, and more than that if you're active.
Did you know that at this very moment your brain is running on almost 100% glucose? Glucose is blood sugar. It is the simplest form of carbohydrate. Glucose is what your body is after when you eat carbs.
Let's talk about the different types of carbohydrates. There are 2 main types of carbs, simple and complex.
Simple carbohydrates are sugars. You can find them in naturally sweet foods like fruit and honey. They are also found in refined and processed foods.
And now, for Sugar 101. Please move to the edge of your seats. What you're about to learn will be important as we go deeper into nutrition.
First of all, there's going to be a few chemical words coming up that you might not be too sweet on, so let's sugarcoat them with some tips. The prefix mono stands for 1, the prefix di stands for 2, and the prefix poly stands for many, and the word saccharide refers to sugar.
Simple sugars are either monosaccharides or disaccharides. As you may have guessed, monosaccharides are just a single sugar. These are the simplest of the simple sugars and therefore the simplest type of carbohydrate. They're the building blocks for all other sugars.
Simple sugars provide the quickest form of energy because the body can convert them rapidly to blood glucose, or fuel. But the quick energy simple sugars provide is not long-lasting. Just think of a sugar rush. They come on quick, but don't last long.
The 3 main monosaccharides are galactose, glucose, and fructose. Galactose is not very sweet. Glucose is sweeter than galactose, but fructose is the sweetest of all.
Galactose is found in milk. Think about it. Milk's not that sweet, and neither is galactose.
Glucose is blood sugar and one of the body's main sources of energy.
Some athletes drink sports drinks containing glucose to raise their blood sugar levels rapidly for quick energy during long workouts. This may be helpful for athletes with really intense workouts, but for most people, it's best to stick with water for hydration. The body naturally has enough glucose stored inside of it to use for sports and exercise. And let's face it, those sweet sports drinks, along with soda and juice, are usually oozy with way too much sugar, which can lead to tooth decay and other health issues.
Last but not least, there's fructose. For fructose, just think fruit, because it's also known as fruit sugar. Fruits are super sweet and delicious because fructose is their main sugar.
To recap, the 3 types of monosaccharides are galactose, glucose, and fructose.
Moving on, disaccharides.
Remember, the prefix di means 2, so a disaccharide is simply 2 monosaccharides put together.
But a disaccharide is not just any 2 monosaccharides. Specifically, a disaccharide is a combination of glucose and some other monosaccharide.
2 glucose molecules make maltose. A glucose and a galactose make lactose. And a glucose and a fructose make sucrose.
Sucrose, friends, is the chemical name for your basic table sugar. You know that stuff you dump on your cereal?
I always take a little bit of sucrose to get my medicine down.
Psst, listen up. This information's gonna keep you alive. It's easy to consume more simple sugars than we can use as energy. That's because they're so tasty and easy to digest. But too much can lead to weight gain and other health problems. So, beware of simple sugar. Be especially cautious with liquid sugars like juice, soda, and other sweet drinks.
We just talked about simple carbohydrates. Now, let's talk about complex carbohydrates.
Complex carbohydrates are polysaccharides. Poly means many, so polysaccharides are made of many simple sugars.
Check this out. If nutrients are like little treasure chests filled with energy, simple sugars require a quick turn of the key to release the glucose. Complex carbs take a bit more work. Complex carbs provide energy to the body more slowly and keep energy going for longer periods of time, unlike the short and quick bursts of energy provided by simple sugars.
There are 3 important complex carbohydrates that you should know. They are glycogen, starch, and fibers.
Glycogen is the form in which the body stores glucose until it's ready to be used as energy.
Starches are a form of glucose stored in plants. Good sources of starches are grains such as rice, wheat, and corn, legumes like peas and beans, and tubers such as potatoes and yams.
Starches are basically storage units for glucose. So what do you think happens when you eat some starch? That's right, you get some energy.
The last complex carb, fiber, is a structural part of plants that cannot be broken down for energy through human digestion, so it doesn't actually nourish the body. But it's got some other handy tricks up its sleeve. For example, it helps fill you up and keeps you feeling full longer.
Also, when taken with plenty of water, fiber acts like a brush, scouring out your gastrointestinal tract. There's a nice poop.
Whoa!
Think about fiber like a chimney sweep you hire to clean out your chimney every once in a while. And you should probably do it more often, since that chimney gets mighty filthy.
Because it sweeps everything out and can fill you up more than low-fiber foods like processed starches and sugar, fiber can help with regularity of bowel movements and prevent constipation, lower cholesterol, and reduce the risk of colon cancer, heart disease, and help manage diabetes.
The truth is that most people don't have enough fiber in their diets. Generally, adult women should get over 25 grams of fiber a day. Just think of it like 25 paper clips worth of fiber. And men should get over 35 grams of fiber a day, or 35 paper clips worth.
Wow, so where can you find this handy intestinal sweeper?
Oh, you can get fiber from foods like whole grains, fruits and veggies, cereals, lentils, beans, nuts, and seeds.
Don't forget that when you increase your fiber intake, you should increase your water intake as well to help the fiber work at its best.
Oh, and by the way, not to sound like an infomercial or anything, but intestinal discomfort may occur when fiber consumption is first increased.
If you experience that discomfort, it probably means you weren't getting enough fiber in the first place, and your body needs to get used to it.
Well, hooray for fiber! Hooray for sugar and starch and all the members of the carb tribe!
Wow, all that talk about carbs is making me hungry. I think I'll go grab a slice of pizza.
Wait, warning, let's get something straight here. Carbs are a good source of energy. However, this does not mean that you should go around eating massive amounts of white bread, mashed potatoes, bundt cakes, or sugary drinks. Oh no. You want to get your carbs from nutritious sources that help fill you up like vegetables, fruits, and whole grains. Why? These are the types of carbs that offer the highest overall nutritional package that offer vitamins and other nutrients in addition to their energy supply.
Macronutrients. Fats.
Let's move on to fats.
These days, fat gets a bad rap. I said bad rap, not bad rapper. Let's get some perspective on fat and see if we can clear up its bad reputation.
As you may have guessed by now, we need fat in our diets. It's true.
Let's get started. First, let's talk about 3 basic functions fats perform for your body.
First of all, fats serve as a continuing source of energy for your body. That means the body is able to take the fat it gets from a meal and store it for later use. If the body needs some fuel between meals or during a period of increased activity, it can draw on the energy it has accumulated from fat. So, as far as fuel goes, fats give you a lot of mileage.
Fats provide 9 calories of energy per gram, as compared to carbs, which provide 4 calories of energy per gram. So when your energy from carbs burns out, fats keep you going because fats provide more calories to burn.
Second, fats provide essential nutrients to the body in the form of fatty acids, as well as the fat-soluble vitamins A, E, D, and K.
You may be wondering, what in the world is a fatty acid? Basically, fatty acids are the fuel your body gets from fats, just like glucose is the fuel your body gets from carbs. Want to see what they look like?
Fatty acids are the structural components of fat. They're basically organic acids made of these long hydrocarbon chains. A hydrocarbon chain is just a chain made of hydrogen and carbon atoms. Each chain has a carboxyl group at the end.
The human body can make all but 2 fatty acids, linoleic acid and alpha-linolenic acid, also known as omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids. That makes these fatty acids essential fatty acids, since the body cannot survive without them, and the only way to get them is from food.
What kinds of foods, you may be wondering? Most vegetable seed oils, plant greens, and fish oil will provide us with these essential fatty acids.
Which brings us to the third things fats do for us. Fats give our food compelling flavor and texture. They do this by actually carrying the flavor of other ingredients, ensuring a yummy, delicious eating experience.
Maybe that doesn't sound so important, but think about it. Evolutionarily, it makes sense for food that nourishes us to be satisfying. Otherwise, how would cavemen have known to eat it?
Satisfaction is important because it leads us to crumple up our napkins, lick our fingers, and stop eating when we've had enough. Fat also helps to keep us full for longer periods than carbs do. Healthy recommendations are to keep fat less than 30% of total calories.
Say, what's the deal with those different types of fat that you see on nutrition labels? You know, saturated and polyunsaturated and all that mumbo jumbo. Ah? Is this mic on? Ah?
Great question. That's a very important topic, and it's got everything to do with the fatty acids.
Basically, there are 2 types of fatty acids, saturated and unsaturated. If a fatty acid is saturated, all that means is that, on the molecular level, it has as many hydrogen atoms as it can contain.
Can you guess what it means for a fatty acid to be unsaturated?
Why, yes, I can. It means
Unsaturated fatty acids are missing 1 or 2 hydrogen atoms, so they're not fully hydrogenated. Unsaturated fats can either be monounsaturated or polyunsaturated. Duh.
So where are these different types of fats found in food?
Well, I'll tell you. Saturated
fats mostly come from meat fats like lard and dairy products like butter. Unsaturated fats come from plant fats like oils.
What is it with that guy?
Unsaturated fats do a lot for the body and can actually be good for the heart.
Now, I know we said that nothing is inherently good or bad in nutrition, But let's get real here. When it comes to kinds of fats, the unsaturated ones are totally the good guys. The saturated fats are sketchy characters.
In particular, one type of polyunsaturated fat, the omega-3 fatty acid, is believed to be ultra beneficial for the heart. Omega-3s help the heart beat steadily, lower blood pressure, decrease blood clotting, and reduce inflammation in the body.
One great source of omega-3 fats is fish. Other sources are walnuts and flax seeds.
Now let's get to the bad guys. Saturated fats are not so good. In general, you can tell a saturated fat by its hardness, like butter or steak fat. You can see why they tend to clog the arteries and can lead to heart disease. Unsaturated fats, on the other hand, are usually liquid, like vegetable oils.
Basically, the story about fats is not that you should avoid eating them, but that you should choose the unsaturated kind over the saturated kind. Recent studies have even shown that these good fats can help prevent heart disease and even some cancers.
So fats aren't all bad. You just have to know how to choose them. It's like shopping at a thrift store. Go for the lightly worn designer jeans, not the smelly purple boots with a stain on them.
However, there is one type of fat that you should avoid like the plague. It's called trans fat.
What's that?
Bad news, that's what.
Trans fat was invented by some mad food scientists in the late 19th century who thought it would be a good idea to hydrogenate vegetable oils, basically turning a liquid fat into a solid fat.
That's how margarine was invented.
For a good part of the 20th century, health professionals told the world that trans fat was healthier than saturated fats. But guess what? They're worse, much worse. In fact, trans fats are the only types of fats that have been linked with hard evidence to coronary heart disease.
This trans fat story brings us to an important general nutrition tip. Choose foods that come as they are found in nature over those that have been created or processed in a laboratory.
And now the last stop on our fat tour, cholesterol.
Cholesterol is another thing that is often misunderstood. Is it good? Is it bad? What is it?
Cholesterol is a fat-like substance found in the cells of animals. Your body needs cholesterol. It is important in digestion and in the structure of cell membranes. Cholesterol is so important to the body that your body already makes all of the cholesterol it needs.
Cholesterol is also found in food. Specifically, it's found in animal food products.
There are two types of blood cholesterol, LDL and HDL. LDL, the bad kind, accumulates in the bloodstream and can lead to clogged arteries, which can cause heart attack and stroke. HDL, the good kind, helps clear away the artery-clogging LDL.
The types of food you eat, as well as your genetics, influence how much of LDL and HDL cholesterol you have in your bloodstream. One key way of keeping your LDL cholesterol levels low is to avoid saturated and trans fats. You know, the bad fats.
Macronutrients. Protein.
We've talked about the first two types of macronutrients, carbohydrates and fats. Now let's talk about the third type, proteins.
Like the other macronutrients, protein provides energy for your body. However, it provides less energy than fats do, only 4 calories per gram.
That's because energy is not protein's main purpose. Building tissue is.
Your body uses the proteins you get from foods as raw materials for making its own proteins.
Proteins are the building blocks of the human body from the time of conception until death. They're also involved in the growth, repair, and replacement of tissues.
Enzymes are also a type of protein. Enzymes are important because they make chemical reactions happen. You know, they give them a little push and get them going. As you'll learn, chemical reactions are a crucial part of digestion.
Proteins are made of chains of these molecules called amino acids. Amino acids are to proteins what fatty acids are to fats and what glucose is to carbs. They're the fuel your body needs. When you eat proteins, your body breaks them down into amino acids and uses them to build its own new proteins.
About 9 out of the 20 amino acids are essential. Remember, this means that the body does not make them itself, so they must be obtained from food.
But not all proteins are created equal. Don't let them fool you. Proteins from different sources, such as animals or plants, can be of higher or lower quality. When we say a protein is high quality, that just means it contains the full set of essential amino acids. High-quality proteins are also known as complete proteins.
Animal sources of protein are complete, while most plant sources are not. They're missing one or more of those essential amino acids. But don't worry, vegetarians. You can also still get the full set of essential amino acids by eating a combination of plant foods to complete the set. In addition, soy is now known to be one of the few plant sources that provides a complete protein.
For example, did you ever wonder why rice and beans is such a popular staple dish in the Latin American cultures? Some people wonder, where's the meat? But rice and beans together form a complete protein source.
Protein deficiency is one of the most widespread forms of malnutrition in the world. It's common among children in developing nations living in poverty, in some poor and elderly, and those unable to meet protein needs because of illness or addictions to drugs or alcohol.
People who suffer from protein deficiencies are vulnerable to infections, weakness, poor growth, fever, and anemia, all of which can lead to heart failure. Protein deficiency is generally not a concern in the U.S. population.
So how much protein should you be eating?
Since protein is involved with building the body's tissues, it makes sense that the amount of protein needed depends on the size of the human. The recommended daily amount of protein is 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight. If you do a little math, you'll find that if you weigh 120 pounds, you'll want to get about 43 grams of protein per day. 40 grams is recognized as the minimum for adult protein intake. Since a gram is about the mass of a paperclip, that's about 40 paperclips of protein you'll need per day. However, the more you weigh, the more you'll need. And remember, don't eat any paperclips.
Generally, the healthy individual protein needs are between 50 to 20% of total calories per day.
As with carbs and as with fats, you want to be choosy about where you get your proteins from. Besides the type of protein, you want to consider the other things that come or don't come with it.
For example, a great big juicy steak will provide you with a glorious amount of protein, but also provides you with a heaping portion of saturated fat.
While that might be okay every once in a while, it's not the best choice for a daily source of protein. Instead, fish, poultry, low-fat dairy products, beans, nuts, and whole grains are great foods for a regular source of protein. If you do choose to eat meat, it is best to choose leaner cuts in smaller sizes.
Well, I'd say that's a satiating amount of information, wouldn't you?
Actually, I'm stuffed. So that's all for now. Thanks for chowing down with us.